Dave Lombardo is known for his fast and aggressive playing style, particularly for his mastery of the double bass drum technique, which earned him the nickname Father of Double Bass. His work has influenced countless drummers in the world of rock and heavy metal. Although he has gone in and out of major bands such as Slayer, his contributions remain irreplaceable, and many bands continue to seek his expertise. His exploration of solo projects and cross-genre collaborations has only strengthened his status as a true legend in the metal world. Born in Havana, Cuba, on February 16, 1965, Dave Lombardo left his homeland at around 15 months old. His family's departure from Cuba was driven by the unstable political situation and concerns about their children's future amid the turmoil of the revolution. Prior to their departure, Lombardo's two older brothers had been sent to the United States through a Catholic Church humanitarian program called Operación Pedro Pan. More than 5 decades later, in January 2018, Lombardo returned to Cuba in an emotional visit. Accompanied by his mother and fiancée, he retraced the almost forgotten past of his childhood, visiting his old house, his father's long-closed butcher shop, and reconnecting with his birthplace, which he had only known through family stories. Dave Lombardo's interest in music developed at an early age. At the age of 8, he gave his first performance, playing Santana's Everybody's Everything on the bongo drums, which sparked his musical curiosity. Seeing his son's talent, Lombardo's father bought him a Pearl Maxwin drum set when he was 10 years old, an instrument that became central to his musical exploration. He taught himself to play by mimicking songs from Kiss's Alive album, particularly 100,000 Years, eventually mastering the drum solo. Although he took drum lessons briefly, Lombardo was more drawn to a freer and more challenging way of learning, preferring a path of self-exploration. His interest in various genres like funk, Latin, and soul even led him to work as a mobile DJ under the name A Touch of Class, before he refocused on rock music in the late 1970s. After graduating from private middle school, he attended Pius X High School. His performance of Johnny B. Good at a school talent show earned him the nickname David the Drummer among his peers. Not long after, he formed a band called Escape, which later changed its name to Sabotage. However, his parents noticed that Dave was starting to neglect school and asked him to leave the band and concentrate on finishing high school. His mother insisted that he graduate, and Lombardo honored her request, eventually graduating from Southgate High School in June 1983. The pivotal moment in Dave Lombardo's career came when he was 16 years old. Friends told him about a guitarist named Kerry King who lived not far from his house. Lombardo introduced himself as a drummer and expressed his desire to form a band. After several jam sessions in Lombardo's garage, King introduced him to Jeff Hanneman. Having previously played in a band called Quits with Tom Araya, King eventually introduced Araya to Lombardo and Hanneman as well. In their early days, Slayer recorded their debut album, Show No Mercy, independently and began building a reputation in the underground scene. However, the major turning point came when Lombardo recommended producer Rick Rubin for their third album, Rain in Blood, Slayer's best-selling album, which is considered one of the heaviest albums of all time. However, during the promotional tour for that album, Lombardo decided to leave the band due to insufficient earnings. He had expected fair compensation, especially after Slayer signed with a major label. His position was temporarily filled by Tony Scaglione from the band Whiplash. Unsatisfied with the result, Rick Rubin persistently persuaded Lombardo to return. After initially refusing, Lombardo eventually rejoined in 1987 and recorded drums for the albums South of Heaven and Seasons in the Abyss. In 1992, Dave Lombardo left Slayer again for personal reasons. He wanted to be present for the birth of his first child and informed the band that he couldn't join the tour during the last 2 weeks of September. However, the band's manager still scheduled Slayer to perform at a festival during that time. Despite pressure, Lombardo stood firm in his decision. After 10 years apart from Slayer, Dave Lombardo was contacted by the band again in 2001 to play in several shows. Jeff Hanneman strongly wanted Lombardo back, while Kerry King was initially unenthusiastic, believing Lombardo's playing had not lived up to expectations. However, King changed his mind drastically after seeing Lombardo's performance during rehearsals and acknowledged the solid and precise power of his drumming. Lombardo officially returned as Slayer's drummer, with his first performance taking place on January 24, 2002, at Toad's Place in New Haven, Connecticut. He also contributed to the albums Christ Illusion and World Painted Blood, which marked the return of Slayer's signature energy in the eyes of fans and critics. His contribution was seen as a key factor in the band's renewed popularity, with reviews highlighting the strength and style of his drumming. However, in February 2013, Lombardo left Slayer once again due to contract and payment disputes. He revealed that only about 10% of the tour's revenue went to the band members, while the remaining 90% was claimed as production, management, and other costs. Lombardo and Tom Araya even hired an auditor to investigate the discrepancies, but Lombardo was never given access to the financial data he requested. He also refused to sign a new contract that did not guarantee commissions in writing, limited his right to media transparency, and offered no access to audits. When Lombardo proposed renegotiations and a new business model to protect the band members' rights, Kerry King rejected the proposal, stating that if Lombardo did not agree, they would find a replacement drummer. Less than a week later, Lombardo received an email from Slayer's lawyer stating that his position had been filled for the upcoming tour by drummer John Deddy. Lombardo stated that he could no longer work under a system he believed was non-transparent and unfair, choosing instead to leave in order to maintain his professional integrity. He also opted not to attend Slayer's final concert on November 30th, 2019, due to his commitments to personal musical projects. Outside of Slayer, Dave Lombardo has pursued a diverse musical career. He formed Grip Inc., a groove metal band that released several albums between 1995 and 2004. He also joined Fantomas, an experimental supergroup with Mike Patton, and contributed to Testament's album The Gathering. In the early 2010s, Lombardo started a project called Film, blending elements of metal, jazz, and experimental music. He also played as the drummer for Suicidal Tendencies, performing on albums and tours throughout the mid-2000s. In addition, Lombardo was involved in other projects such as Dead Cross, Misfits, Mr. Bungle, and Empire State Bastard, showcasing his flexibility across various musical styles. In 2023, he released his first solo album, Rites of Percussion, featuring instrumental drum compositions influenced by music from around the world. Dave Lombardo also formed a music project with his wife, Paula Lombardo, called Venamoris, where Dave serves as producer and drummer, while Paula writes the lyrics and performs as the lead vocalist. Paula, who was previously known as a backup singer for Wayne Newton, initially bonded with Lombardo without knowing he was the famous drummer from Slayer. In an interview with Radio X, Paula shared that the first time she saw Dave perform on stage, she simply thought of him as an interesting drummer. The couple got married on February 25, 2018, in a ceremony held at Greens Point Lighthouse in Leyte, New Brunswick, Canada, after dating for about 6 years. Lombardo has also showcased his creative side behind the scenes of the film and television industry. He has contributed to the production of musical scores for several notable works. In 2004, Lombardo collaborated with composer Tyler Bates on the project Dawn of the Dead, an experience he described as truly incredible and one that opened the door for him into the world of film music. He later demonstrated his skills again in the film Insidious Chapter 3, this time working with Joseph Bishara to create more ambient and atmospheric drum compositions, very different from the aggressive drumming style he's usually known for. In addition to his work in music, Lombardo has expressed his creativity through visual art. In early 2014, he launched his first art project titled Rhythm Mysterium in collaboration with the Scene 4 art team in Los Angeles. The collection consists of 13 unique pieces where Lombardo painted with his drumming rhythms using visual technology that captures the motion and light of his performance, then transforms it onto canvas.